Chase at the 40. Look at that move. Look at Chase go. Oh, my goodness. What a gear.
He comes down to this in his car end zone. Intercepted.
McPherson. And Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
Cross here. Mixon's going to throw. Open man. Caught. Higgins. Touchdown.
Drives. Touchdown. Joe Burrow has his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Maan. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our victorious Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals beat the Steelers 37-30, and we are coming to you actually right after the football game. We wanted to see what this was going to look like. I'm actually liking it. It's a little odd. I mean, it's a little odd being on camera together, but you know, my beauty obviously kind of just makes it all come together. So it's definitely going to work, as you can see. But anyway, Bengal fans, episode 31 of the Bengals Pulse is here, and man, what a great game. I mean, obviously, the first half, I was calling for Lou Anarumo's job. But second half, Lou came out and did his thing. And our Cincinnati Bengals defense showed up the second half and really shut down the Steelers besides that last touchdown drive. Of course, you know, their other 3 points came off of that Watt interception. But Okay. All right. So anyway, Bengal fans, let's Mom, real quick. I'll go through the stats first, and then we'll talk about that real quick.
Absolutely.
Joe Burrow, 24 of 39, 355 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's the one thing, you know, you don't like to see. Joe Burrow is he's thrown 8 interceptions this year, 6 of them against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although both of the interceptions tonight, one on a tip ball. And then obviously the Watt play.
That was a great play by Watt. You got to give him credit, even though I hate him. Okay.
Agreed. It just seems like the Watts do that to us. It's ridiculous. You know, I remember back in 2013 when we played the Texans in the playoffs, and his brother did the same thing, jumped up, picked off a ball, Andy Dalton ball, and really turned the entire momentum of that football game. And I was a little concerned about that tonight.
I know. I thought Greg Gumbel wanted to take him out on a date also. We kept on talking about him and Adam Archuleta. Continue.
We almost muted the TV. Yeah, we got a little tired of that. He was sacked 2 times. Again, you know, that's a pretty vaunting pass rush. They got a defensive line's pretty good. Obviously, a lot better than the 7 sacks the first meeting.
Absolutely.
But still. The stat did pop up on the TV that the Steelers had 19 sacks this year, 9 of them against the Bengals. But that is a good pass rush, and we usually struggle against them. Let's talk about the man of the hour, though. Samaje Perine, right?
Yeah.
11 carries for 30 yards on the ground after Joe Mixon goes down with a concussion. But really, through the air, 4 receptions, 52 yards, and 3 touchdowns, Mon. He touched the ball 15 times for 82 yards and 3 touchdowns. Big game for Samaje Perine.
Absolutely. I love him. He's one of my favorite Bengals. I'm a big West Virginia fan, and when he played at Oklahoma, he would terrorize West Virginia. And when the Bengals picked him up, I'm like, wow, he's such a stud. And he played good today. You know, it was great to see him and Irwin come in and play. Those guys,
absolutely,
you know, backups. Irwin was on the practice squad for years. The guy came in, made that great play where he pivoted away and was it a 30-yard completion? That was needed in the second half, and it was good to see those backups come in and perform because we're going to need that in the second half.
Absolutely, and a big touchdown too by Trent Irwin, right? Big touchdown by Trent Irwin, not Trent Taylor. So, all right, well let's Joe Mixon before he went out, 7 carries, 20 yards. He did have 3 catches for 42 yards. Joe Mixon becoming a real big part of that pass game where they're going empty and lining him out wide and actually having him as that X receiver and catching some balls across the middle.
Yeah.
And then T. Higgins, I thought the other stud of the game, 9 receptions, 148 yards for T. Higgins. big day for him. You talked about Trent Irwin, the 3 catches for 42 yards and the touchdown. That long was 32 yards, so right around 30 yards. And Tyler Boyd, only 2 catches, but man, 2 big ones on that last drive that really sealed the game for our Bengals. Hayden Hurst, 2 catches for 28 yards. Maan, defensively, again, I was not very happy with our defense the first half of the game. I didn't think we played very well the first half. And it's not a good sign when Cam Taylor-Britt is your leading tackler. He had 12 tackles today, 9 solo. Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson both with 8 tackles. I thought Jermaine Pratt had some big plays in the run game. Yeah, absolutely. And Flowers and Bell both with 6. So Flowers, a lot more playing time today for Flowers. Hendrickson, 5 tackles. It says here 2 sacks, but I think they gave half this other sack to Sam Hubbard. So we'll say Trey Hendrickson, 5 tackles, a sack and a half, and give Sam Hubbard that other half, 4 tackles and half a sack for Sam Hubbard. No, Bengals didn't turn the ball over defensively, no turnovers, which again is a point that I feel like as we get closer to the playoffs, this defense has got to start creating turnovers like we did last year, and really the pass rush non-existent the first half. But then obviously the second half we got to them. Yeah. What do you think, Maan, about any of those stats that jump out to you?
No, well, I mean, it's a tale of two halves with the defense. The first half, I'm not going to lie to you, we were talking about it, sent out some tweets. It was shocking that they gave up 20 points to the Steelers. The Steelers had struggled all year on offense. And it was shocking. But, listen, the start of the second half, getting that 3 and out. I think they got 3 and outs in a row.
Yes. And
they really stifled them and shut them down. And then Joe this is one of Joe's best games. I know the 2 interceptions looked bad, but they were tip passes. They weren't bad throws, but he was stoic back there. He did a really good job. Listen, TJ Watt did his thing. They did put some pressure on him, but it wasn't that much. I thought Collins played well. I thought overall the offensive line played pretty solid, but it was good to see, and I'm glad that they put it together in the second half because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a defensive homer, but it was really shocking the first half. But they put it together, and they started getting some pressure. And one thing you always hear about turnovers, we lost a turnover battle, 2 turnovers, and by the Steelers, and we still won the game. And that doesn't happen very often. I don't care.
Well, it's never happened under this regime, right? We saw the stat. The Bengals were 0-8 before this game when they had 2 turnovers or more. Yeah. And so a good stat to break, especially turn the ball over 2 times. Not winning the turnover battle and still scoring 37 points is pretty impressive.
Don't forget that stat about when the Bengals are losing at halftime under Zach Taylor. I mean, the record was really poor, but again, they were losing at halftime, but they found a way to win. And hats off to the Bengals. We needed this win. We needed it bad.
I mean, it was a must win. Yes. Let's talk about some special teams guys, because obviously I was also upset with our kickoff team. I thought they didn't play well at all. They didn't cover kicks well today. And I don't know if you remember, Mom, but we were at that first Steeler game, and they struggled covering kicks against them. Remember, I'm not sure what 89's number is. He's the one that had the catch down at the goal line at the end of the game for the Steelers. Actually, let me find his name. Not sure what's his name, Gentry. I think it's Gentry or Olsen-Slosky or something. Yeah. Anyway, remember, he had some big kickoff returns in that first Bengal game. So maybe it's just the way the Steelers run their kickoff return, but I didn't think we covered kicks very well today as far as kickoff goes. But Travion Williams, man, 5 kickoff returns, 124 yards, a long of 42. Man, he was like a different player today. I mean, he even offensively, he played a couple snaps. Offensively, Mon, he had he had he had a couple carries for about 10 yards. But again, a guy out there making plays that, we're going to need down the stretch. So I loved him back returning kicks. Evan Money Mac, feel like he's back, right? Feel like he's got some mojo. 3 for 3 field goals, a long of 54, and we talked about
at that stadium.
Yeah, that's crazy.
54-yard kick is pretty impressive.
Absolutely,
the wind was swirling. Listen, the kickoffs were short, but the wind was really it was just horrible there.
Yeah.
And I think that was the reason. But yeah, the special teams need to do a little better job on kick coverage there. But yeah, I'm watching Williams return. You know what? You always wonder. He's been on the team for 4 years. I think we know why. The coaching staff they like his potential.
Yeah.
He had a couple carries. He looked good today.
Yep.
So he's good to have. He's got some talent, and he definitely gave us a spark on the kick return.
And I think it's safe to say it is a sad day in Bengaldom because I believe that Kevin Huber has played his last snaps as a Bengal, which it is sad. It really is sad. I mean, he's been one of my favorite Bengals for a long time, and he's been through it all. And but today, man, Chrisman came out 3 punts, 150 yards of yardage. I mean, he averaged 50 yards a punt along a 57. 2 of those punts, Mon, inside the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid's going to be really good for a long time. I would say that he's probably going to be our new punter. What do you think?
I agree with you. Listen, Huber's had a great career. He's a Cincinnati kid.
Yeah.
He's going to go down as one of the all-time best Bengals, and I salute him. And you know what? We did see a passing of the torch today. I think Chrisman's going to be our punter from here on out.
I do too. Again, like I said, kind of a sad day, really. I mean, I'm such a huge Kevin Huber fan, but I think it's interesting that we're seeing obviously Clark Harris. I mean, obviously his was because of an injury, but we're seeing that torch probably passed, and now we're seeing Kevin Huber, 2 staples of this Bengals special teams for years and years and years, as long as I can remember. So Kevin Huber, though, has had an incredible career. Real quick, Steelers stats for them. Najee Harris, 20 carries for 90 yards, but a lot of that came in the first half.
Yeah, it did.
The Bengals really shut down the run game the second half, and we talked about that. And Pickens, 4 catches, 83 yards, a touchdown, but had a big touchdown drop, which was really a big play, Mom, because we were talking about it when it happened. He catches that ball. There's still almost 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
If the Bengals don't get a first down, they might have to punt the ball back.
Well, they did end up scoring on that drive, I do believe.
Yes, they did, but
it took them
not
another minute.
Yeah, it took another minute off the clock, right?
Right, absolutely.
I
I hated that they scored at the end there because people are going to look and say, "Oh, the Steelers scored 30 on the Bengals." Listen, that was Bengals were up 14 points. Their reserves were in. They were playing prevent, just trying to have them chew up the clock. It was just a one of those late touchdowns. But I'm really proud of the defense in the second half. That's what we need to see.
Absolutely. So let's kind of look at now, Mon, where we are sitting right now. Obviously, again, we are doing this right after the Bengals game, so we don't know who's going to win the Chargers-Chiefs game. We want the Chiefs to win, Mon, because right now that Chargers team is right now we are in the playoffs. If it ended today, if the Chargers lose tonight, we are in the playoffs. We are going to be that 7th seed. So kind of shook out good today for us. The Jets losing actually helped us because we have that tiebreaker head-to-head with them. So we jumped them today, which was big. And, the Ravens sneak one out. I've said it all year. The Ravens are not a good football team. I don't know how in the hell that team has won 7 football games. They are awful. But they are the ones that are standing in our way for that North Division. And then, of course, the Browns were the Browns again. Again, I just don't understand why we are the only team they look good against. I think Brissett had a good game today, but they just did Brown things. They were in that game for a little bit and then just kind of unraveled. Your elite runner, Mr. Chubb, had 14 carries for 19 yards. So that was not a good game for him. But so anyways, now we are looking again. We've kind of, I think at this point now it's safe to say Bengals, Ravens for this North Division.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah. Real quick, is the Chief game, is it in Los Angeles?
I will check for you. Let me check real
let's try
quick.
to find that out. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a 2-team race now. I mean,
it is in Los Angeles.
It's in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I still think the Chiefs are going to win. Yeah, listen, the Ravens have an easy schedule compared to the Bengals. But listen, today they really struggled against those Panthers. It was a close game. The score is a little misleading. If the Panthers had half an offense, I think they could have won that game. But that defense,
man.
the
Their
Panther
offense is
defense
terrible.
stifled them.
Yes.
Absolutely stifled them.
Yeah.
And for us to put up 35 points in the first half against them,
Yes.
and I mean, it's just, listen, the Bengals are hitting their stride. We've won 4 of our last 5. And listen, things look good for us. Look really good. I don't care about the teams we play ahead of us. We just got to play Bengal football, and we're going to win most of those games.
Well, again, and let's just talk about it now. Next week's game on is huge.
It is,
right?
yes.
I mean, you're looking at the Titans are sitting at 7-3. The Bengals are at 6-4, and that right there, that game is really going to come down to the seeding. If we do win the North Division, let me say when we win the North Division, it's going to come down to the seeding, and chance for us to get that 1 seed. We're still in this thing. I mean, if we make a run here, like you and I think we're going to, and we knock off the Titans, we knock off the Chiefs, we knock off the Bills, we knock off the Ravens, you win those 4 games, and I would say we have a extremely good chance of being the 1 seed.
Jake, here's the key. This game was in Pittsburgh. The next game's in Tennessee. After that, we have 4 of our next 6 at home. The Bengals have been really, really solid at home.
Yes.
Let's get to those last 6 games. Listen, if we win against the Titans, I like right now, I think I read that the Bengals had a 37% chance of making the playoffs. They win today, goes up to 47%. If they beat the Titans, has to be in the 60% range.
Yes,
or we're going to be in the playoffs, wild card at least. So we got to win next week. Let's just go 1 week at a time. We got some tough games, but you know what? If the way Joe Burrow played today, we're going to be in every game. We're not going to get blown out. We have a chance in every game. If the defense plays like they did in the second half, we'll be all right. Listen, the Titans, I know their record is great. They have a great defense. That's what makes them special. But we can't let Henry beat us. Listen, if Tannehill beats us, he beats us. Let's make him beat us.
I agree.
Right? That game the other night, if Aaron Rodgers was the Aaron Rodgers of 2 years ago, they would have won. They would have scored 3 more touchdowns. If he was really overthrowing his receivers. It's just really painful to see these elite quarterbacks just tumble like that. They really fell off a cliff. But you know what? 1 week at a time. Next week's a huge game in Tennessee. And you know what? I like our chances, and I'm going to give a prediction later on that.
Well, and honestly too, we have, by the way, we have our whole crew here today. So a big shout out to Justin, our buddy Tony, all the way from England is here tonight. Eric, his son Austin, your brother Marvin. Right. It's our Bengal crew minus your son Jake.
And my wife Heather's over here. Hi,
Heather. Say Heather. Hello. so the whole crew's here. We had a packed house. But we were kind of throwing things out there after the game, and our buddy Justin brought up, we don't have to defend A.J. Brown like last year against the Titans. Remember, if you guys remember, A.J. Brown last year really kept the Titans in that football game. And then our other buddy Eric talked about Mr. Foreman because really we shut down Mr. Henry. I will never call him King Henry, but we shut down Mr. Henry. But Foreman really kind of carried their run game. And those are 2 guys that we don't have to deal with next week. And obviously getting back our boy Jamar Chase is very exciting. Hopefully he is back next week. And this Bengals offense, Maan, they're averaging over 30 points a game these last, 4 or 5 games?
Yeah.
And
minus the Browns game.
Yeah, minus the Browns game. But still averaging close to 30, and that's without Jamar Chase.
Yes, that's true, and they've done really well. They just talked about that. Who was it that we saw? Sunday Night Football. When the coach for the Cowboys, what was his name? Jim, the head coach, the one that's the analyst. Garrett.
Garrett.
He was talking about the Bengals offense, how well they've done without Jamar Chase. It was great to see, and he talked about Joe Mixon. He talked about all the other weapons. And it's true. I mean, listen, they've really excelled without him, and he's coming back next week. Look out. And we have got to block that guy from Tennessee, Simmons.
Oh, man.
We can't have 9 sacks next week. And I don't think we will. Our offensive line is getting better. Listen, Collins played a really good game today against Watt. I know he had that great interception, but I think Collins actually played pretty well. And I think he's getting back into the groove of the Collins.
I do too.
With Dallas.
I agree. He had a couple of misses there with Watt, but for the most part, he did play well. And yeah, I mean, I think the one thing now we got to kind of worry about is the Joe Mixon injury because although Samaje Perine played well today, that Titans front seven is pretty damn good, and we're gonna have to still have some kind of run game going next week, and hopefully Joe Mixon is healthy and back. I was talking to Justin earlier, and I was like, did anybody actually see where the injury happened? I didn't see where the actual injury happened. Next thing we know is Joe Mixon's being evaluated for concussion, but I actually didn't see what happened. But hopefully, like we said, he is better. Yeah. But this Bengals team is getting healthy.
Yeah, it is.
And I think DJ Reader, we didn't see a lot from him today, but again, he's coming off of the injury. Hopefully getting his feet back under himself.
He'll get better every week. Josh
absolutely.
DePaul hopefully can come back real soon. That's going to solidify the interior of that line.
Yeah.
We need a little more push from the interior because if you notice in the first half, Pickett was just those guys are flying off the edges. He would just step up and complete some passes, and they need to work on that.
I'm looking here. One more thing I want to talk about real quick today, and it's something that we've seen a lot of from Joe Burrow, Maan, is that this guy really spreads the ball around well, right? Today we had, obviously, T. Higgins with 150 yards receiving, but we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receivers with over 40 yards receiving today, and then Hayden Hurst had 30. So, I mean, that is really spreading the football around, and I think Joe Burrow, again, I always sound like a homer when I talk about the guy, but he just does such a good job of that.
Yeah, what was his stat line? Real quick.
It was 24, 39, 355.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, that's like I said, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different receivers with almost, with either 40 or more yards. That's spreading the wealth around, and that is a formula for winning football games in the NFL, right? And that's without Jamar Chase.
Listen, with the Bengals, I know I sound like Captain Obvious here, but with him at quarterback, they're going to be relevant for years.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be in every game these next 7. And listen, man, I loved his presence today. TJ Watt, those guys were coming after him, and he just stood back there. And I love him.
TJ Watt's so ridiculous. He's such a clown. That guy is such a clown. I mean, you know what's sad is
he is a G-rated show.
He's a good. He is a good football player, but he acts like a clown. You know what I mean? It's like just do it with some class and act like you've been there before. But he is such a clown. I remember they were doing like some kind of stat thing today during the game, and he's like posing, trying to look mean, like he's some kind of scary enforcer. He's such a clown.
What is it with that team and their wide receivers? They trade Claypool, who was a clown. He was good for a 15-yard penalty every game, and they replace him with Pickens, who is basically the same thing. He got thrown out at the end of the game. The guy
does he get suspended for that, right?
I don't know.
I think I think if you get listeners, go ahead and comment if you know. But I think in the NFL, we know it in college you do. In college, it's if you get thrown out, it's 2 quarters. In the NFL, I think if you get kicked out of a football game, I think there's some kind of suspension. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
There'll be a heavy fine for sure. But he's just get these guys, man. Listen, he's a good talent, but he's got some issues. He's got some growing up to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their coach is a clown, so they just feed off of his leadership. All right, so you want to talk about next week's games?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, here we go. So Tampa Bay at Cleveland. Very interesting game. Tampa Bay at Cleveland. Tampa Bay at 5-5. Cleveland now at 3-7. Maan, who you got?
Man, I'm going to go with Cleveland here. I think Tampa Bay, in the cold weather. Tom Brady, it just isn't the Tom Brady of old. I'm going to say 17-14 Cleveland.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say that Tampa Bay defense is still really good. And Cleveland's offense is really bad, except for, some games. I'm not going to say what games. But I'm going to say it's still going to be a close football game. I'm going to say Tampa 21, Cleveland 17. Okay. I think it's a close ball game. Here we go. Baltimore at Jacksonville. And I know when people probably first look at this, they're like, that's going to be a Baltimore win. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Jacksonville they're a scrappy football team, Mon. They've had some tough losses this year, and their record easily, they're 3-7, but their record easily could be 5-5.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I know we're going to come across as being homers here. We have a lot of people that comment during the show. The Raven fans, they give us some nice, interesting comments.
Their
in the live
team's
chat.
terrible. Their team's terrible.
They come in and they love to give a live chat during the premiere of our show. They're not going to like my prediction here. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to call it. I think Jacksonville upsets them.
I agree.
I think it's going to be like a 24-21 game. I'm going to tell you, Baltimore's defense is what's saving them.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson is I get it, legs. He's made some really great throws. It's their defense right now.
Lamar Jackson's not good.
Lamar Jackson,
he's not good right now.
If you score 24 points on the Ravens, you'll put stress on them because that offense. Listen, they're not a big strike offense. It takes 7, 8, 9, 10 plays for them to score on drives. If you hold them to 20 points and you can get to 24, 25, you're going to win games. Great. Jacksonville's going to win at home. Listen, playing in Jacksonville, it's going to be an upset. And I'm not trying to be a homer here. I really feel it. 24-21 Jacksonville.
I'm going to say Jacksonville wins this football game, Mon, and I'm going to say they win it 24-14. I think Baltimore, again, when I say we, I mean the Bengals, we put it to Carolina. Baltimore's defense doesn't play well today. Baltimore loses that game to Carolina in Baltimore. And you said it earlier in the show. I mean, if Carolina has any type of semblance of an offense, Carolina runs away with that game. The only touchdown that Baltimore got today was because of a fumble the defense caused and flipped the field position and gave the Ravens offense the ball inside the 25-yard line or something like that. I agree. I think Jacksonville beats them. And then we got the Steelers at Indy. And that's going to be, I think that's the Monday night game. That is the Monday night game.
If it doesn't can it get flexed out?
I don't think the Monday night games get flexed out. I think that's just Sunday night. What do you think?
I'm going to take Coach Saturday and his team. They're going to win.
Okay.
And I have them winning 27-10 over the Steelers.
I was going to say 24-10. Okay. I'm going to go 24-10. Hey, Saturday wins last week, and this week he loses to, well, you would say the best team in football, right? Yeah, right now, playing the best at least. Right. Playing the best football right now. They lose the Eagles 17-16, and they're winning the entire game, right? They were up 16-3 or something like that, the Colts were. I think the Colts run away next week with the Steelers. And then we have our game. We have the Bengals. Our Bengals go into Tennessee for a rematch of the second round of the playoffs last year. Maan, Bengals, Titans. Who do you got?
Okay, this is going to be a tough game. Tennessee has a really good defense. I still think the Bengals are going to get to 24. And I think they're going to win this game 24-17. Hard fought, really physical game. 24-17 Cincinnati Bengals over the Tennessee Titans.
24-17, yes. You say? Mm-hmm. I am going to say 27-17. Okay. I think the Bengals stay close to that 30 mark. I just think right now the offense is rolling. I don't want to take anything away from the Titans' front seven. They are really good. But I just think the Bengals' offense is rolling now. I think Joe Burrow's in a groove, and getting Jamar Chase back is going to be huge for this team. Yeah. And I said it when I first got to your house today, is that the Titans don't ever scare me. There's some teams that we play that I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a rough day. Whether it's gonna be close or not. They don't worry me. I think we match up well against them. I feel like the Bengals defense is built to beat a team like the Tennessee Titans.
Listen, I agree. I hear what you're saying. I feel it. They don't have an explosive offense. Their offense isn't a team that's going to get you 30. They're not going to score 30, 35 points. The only problem is their defense is so good. They get a turnover here. They start flipping the field position. Next thing you know, the Titans have 30, 40 yards to go to get a score. We can't do that. We can't have those turnovers. If we hold on to the ball, we play smart, tough football, we're going to win the game. We're going to win that game.
Agreed. So let's I just want to go back to that. That discussion we just had about Mr. Lamar Jackson, just for our Ravens fans out there.
Go ahead. I'm going to get the guys. I want them to say hi.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, get them. So here we go. Here's Lamar Jackson's stats for today against a terrible Carolina Panthers football team. Lamar Jackson, 24 of 33, 209 yards, an interception, sacked 3 times, with a QBR of 24.7. So for all of you Raven fans out there, again, your football team is not very good. And again, you're in our way right now, but I feel very good about Bengals Ravens coming up at the end of the season. Did you get some of the guys?
Yeah, they're coming to say hi.
All right.
This is the crew we watch the Bengals with every Sunday. This is Eric.
Let's go. Hooday.
This is Austin.
Hooday!
Eric is a season ticket holder. He drives up to Cincinnati. That's our friend Tony from
Hooray!
England. Say hi, Tony. That's Justin.
Hey.
And that's my brother Marvin right there.
How about them Bengals?
Okay,
All right.
Cool.
And Tony again, all the way from England. He comes over here every Thanksgiving. And you know what I love about Tony the most is he doesn't push soccer on us. You know what I mean? He doesn't. We try to get him riled up about it, but he doesn't push soccer on us. Okay. But this is our crew minus your son.
That's right.
Minus your son Jake.
And
but,
Luke. And Luke.
Yes, and Luke, and your son Luke. Well,
and Olivia. We got
Olivia.
Okay.
All the Abba We'll just throw all the Abba into that group. But anyways, guys, that is another edition of the Bengals Pulse. He is Maan. I am Jake. If you like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the podcast platforms. Again, if you liked it, please give us that 5-star review. We got Daisy Abba here too. If you liked us, make sure you give us that 5-star review. And again, check out all of the awesome podcasts going on the Wincinnati Podcast Network. Once again, he is Maan. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Hooday, Bengal fans. We'll see you next week.